Welcome back, Queens. Imagine this. A man who once held your heart now spends sleepless nights haunted by the void you left behind. It wasn't the grand gestures or the whispered promises that made him realize what he lost. No, it was something far deeper, something he never saw coming. The number one thing that will make any man regret losing you isn't about playing games or seeking revenge. It's about stepping into the light of your own worth so brightly that he's blinded by the realization that he let something extraordinary slip through his fingers. They say, you never truly appreciate the sun until it stops shining. And you, my dear, are the sun. For too long he basked in your warmth, took comfort in the light you so generously shared, and never thought for a moment that it might fade. But here's the thing about being underestimated. It only makes your rise more glorious. You're not broken, you're rising. This is your moment to reclaim everything. The secret lies not in making him regret, but in making yourself unforgettable. It's not about chasing validation or proving your worth to someone who didn't see it before. It's about understanding that your worth was never up for debate. When you begin to live with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their value, that's when the regret sets in. The strongest fires create the brightest flames, and now is your time to burn brighter than ever. Picture this. He thought he could keep you on a shelf, always within reach, but never truly appreciated. You were his safety net, his lighthouse in the storm, the one constant in his unpredictable world. But what happens when the lighthouse turns off its beam, when the safety net is pulled away? Suddenly he's left stumbling in the dark, forced to face the truth he's avoided for so long. They walked away, but you're still standing, stronger, wiser, more radiant than ever. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And that's exactly what you're doing, dyeing your soul with the colors of resilience, grace, and power. Every time you choose to focus on yourself, every time you refuse to settle for less, you're painting a masterpiece he'll never forget. He may have thought you'd always be there, but now he's left staring at the blank canvas of his life, realizing you were the one who brought the color. You don't need him to be whole. That's the first step in making anyone regret losing you. Your completeness doesn't depend on their presence. It's rooted in your ability to stand tall and unshaken, even when the winds of heartbreak try to knock you down. Feel the pain, but don't live there. Let it carve out space for something greater, something worthy of the incredible love you have to give. Think of a diamond. Its brilliance isn't diminished by the one who overlooks it. Instead, its value remains, waiting for the right person to recognize its worth. You are that diamond. Your scars are proof you survived, and your resilience is what makes you shine. While he's busy chasing fleeting distractions, he'll come to realize that the love and loyalty you offered were irreplaceable. And by then, you'll be long gone, thriving in a life built on self-respect and boundless possibility. Enough is enough. Take your power back. You were never meant to dim your light for someone else's comfort. Let your silence echo louder than their words. Let your actions, not your explanations, speak volumes. Stop waiting for permission to be amazing, because the love you seek starts with you. The moment you stop giving him access to your energy, your time, your attention, is the moment you reclaim the narrative. And that's when the regret begins. Imagine him sitting in the quiet moments, scrolling through old conversations, replaying memories, and realizing he didn't just lose someone who cared, he lost someone rare. The kind of regret that follows isn't just about the past, it's about the future he'll never have. You were never his to take for granted, and now he sees it clearly. Your silence will echo louder than any argument ever could. It's not about proving a point. It's about becoming the version of yourself that no one can ignore. Relationships are a dance, but the most important step is knowing when to walk away. You're not a victim. You're the hero of this story. You didn't lose him. He lost you. And that truth will sting every time he thinks of what might have been. But you'll look in the mirror and see your biggest ally staring back at you. Every setback was a setup for this moment, a moment where you rise unapologetically into your power. They underestimated you. Now prove them wrong. Not with words or grand displays, but by living a life so full, so radiant, that his regret becomes inevitable. Let the hurt fuel your growth. Let the love you once poured into him flow back into yourself. Stop waiting. The time is now. Your future is watching. What will it see? A woman who knows her worth, who turns her pain into power, who thrives in the face of every doubt. And as he watches you from the sidelines, trying to make sense of how he let you go, you'll realize the most important truth of all. His regret is not your responsibility. Your story isn't over. It's just beginning. Every choice you make from this moment forward isn't about him. It's about you. You're stronger than the excuses holding you back. You're a force he'll never forget. And while he's left grappling with his mistakes, you'll be thriving, unapologetically, in a world where you finally give yourself the love you've always deserved. Queens, your worth is undeniable and your power is unstoppable. Share your thoughts in the comments and declare it with me. I am unforgettable. Let's build a community of strength and resilience together. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like this video and hit subscribe for more empowering content. Together, let's keep thriving and growing stronger every day. Number 1. He'll feel the chill of your absence, like a winter without end. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do isn't to argue, explain, or plead. It's to step away and let your absence speak for itself. Queens, hear me when I say this. The chill of your absence will do what words never could. It's not about being vindictive or cold-hearted. It's about reclaiming your worth in a way that leaves no room for doubt. When a man who took you for granted feels the empty space you once filled, it's like a winter that never ends, a stark, undeniable realization of everything he lost. And in that cold, he will regret. Not because you wanted him to, but because he didn't appreciate your warmth when he had it. Picture this. You've been the fire that kept him warm, the glowing hearth in his life he didn't realize he needed. He assumed it would always burn, always be there, no matter how little effort he made to keep it alive. But what happens when that fire goes out? Suddenly, he's left in the icy grip of a reality he never prepared for, a reality without you. Queens, you are not the endless giver, pouring yourself out without ever being replenished. This is your moment to reclaim everything, to pull back your warmth and remind him that it was never his to take for granted. As Marcus Aurelius said, what stands in the way becomes the way. Your absence becomes the mirror through which he sees his shortcomings, the truth he can't avoid. Men often fail to understand the depth of a woman's presence until they feel its loss. And your absence? It isn't just the absence of texts, laughter, or late-night conversations. It's the loss of his anchor, his light, his warmth. When the frost sets in, he'll realize just how much of his world revolved around you. Think of a queen leaving her throne, not in defeat, but in power. The kingdom grows cold in her absence. The halls echo with silence, and the people whisper her name, realizing too late what they've lost. That's what your absence does to him. You've been the one to breathe life into the relationship, to create a space where love could thrive. And now, as you step back, he'll feel the chill creeping in, unable to ignore the void you've left behind. You might be asking yourself, will he even notice? Trust me, my queens, he will. Absence has a way of amplifying what was once taken for granted. It's like a warm coat you didn't think twice about until the cold winds bite. He will feel the sting of losing someone who truly cared, someone who gave him more than he ever deserved. And as he sits in that cold, he'll replay every moment, every chance he had to value you, but didn't. Let the hurt fuel your growth, not your doubt. Remember this, you are not broken, you're rising. They don't define you, you do. When you step away, you're not abandoning yourself, you're finding yourself. You're not a victim, you're the hero of this story. And while he struggles to cope with the winter you've left behind, you're blossoming into the woman you were always meant to be. Enough is enough. Take your power back. Look in the mirror, queens. That's your biggest ally, the person who will never let you down. The beauty of this is that you're not doing it for him, you're doing it for you. When you choose to step away, to no longer tolerate being taken for granted, you're reclaiming your crown. And while he feels the icy emptiness, you're walking toward a future filled with warmth and possibility. Let him wonder, let him regret, but don't let it hold you back. Your future is watching. What will it see? As you rise, repeat this affirmation with me. My absence is my power. Let it guide you, strengthen you, and remind you that your worth isn't tied to his validation. Write it in the comments to affirm your commitment to yourself and share your power with the other queens watching. And if this resonated with you, like this video and subscribe to our channel. We're here to create life-changing lessons that remind you of your worth and help you build the life you deserve. Together, we rise. Number 2, he'll see the void in his life like a starless sky. He thought you'd always be there, shining like a star in his sky, steady and constant, no matter how he treated you. But what happens when the star that guided him dims and the light he took for granted fades away? The number one thing that will make any man regret losing you is when he finally looks up and sees the void you've left behind. A starless sky where your brilliance once illuminated his world. Queens, this isn't about playing games or getting even. This is about reclaiming your light, your power, and your worth. The very thing that made him take you for granted will now be the source of his deepest regret. Imagine this. For weeks, months, or maybe even years, you were the constant. You showed up, gave your love, and lit up his life without ever asking for much in return. But stars don't burn for free forever. They need energy, appreciation, and care. When you stop shining for someone who doesn't see your brilliance, they're left in the dark. And it's in that darkness, queens, that he will finally see the full scope of what he's lost. The strongest fires create the brightest flames, but when they go out, the void is undeniable. Men often don't realize the magnitude of a woman's presence until it's no longer there. He thought you were his safety net, his guiding light, the star that would always shine for him. But now, he's standing under a blank sky, searching for something he'll never find again. Your love wasn't ordinary, it was extraordinary. Your patience wasn't weakness, it was strength. Your care wasn't convenience, it was a gift. And now, as he faces the emptiness you've left behind, he's left wondering how he ever thought he could live without you. Queens, hear me when I say this. You're not a victim of his indifference. You're the hero of this story. You don't need him to be whole, and his failure to see your worth doesn't diminish it one bit. Picture yourself as a constellation, breathtaking, complex, and impossible to replicate. He may have taken you for granted, but your light hasn't dimmed. It's simply moved to a place where it's valued, cherished, and celebrated. They walked away, but you're still standing, stronger, brighter, unstoppable. When he lies awake at night, staring at the ceiling, it won't just be regret he feels, it'll be a profound sense of loss. Because Queens, you weren't just anyone, you were the one who loved him when he didn't even love himself, the one who believed in him when he doubted himself, the one who poured light into his life even when he gave you nothing in return. And now, the starless sky he's staring into will remind him every day that he let something rare and irreplaceable slip away. This is your moment to reclaim everything, to step away from the people who don't see your worth and surround yourself with those who do, to light up your own sky and never again let anyone dim your glow. The love you seek starts with you. Your future is watching. What will it see? A woman who knows her worth, who doesn't settle, who chooses herself every time. Enough is enough. Take your power back. Stop waiting for permission to shine. You're the constellation, Queens. Never let anyone make you feel like anything less. As he navigates his days without you, he'll look for your light in places it will never be. He'll search for you in others, only to find shadows. He'll replay your laughter, your kindness, your care, and wonder how he ever thought he could replace what you gave so freely. And with every failed attempt to fill the void, his regret will grow. They underestimated you. Now prove them wrong. Not through words, but by living a life so full, so radiant, that his regret becomes a whisper in the background of your triumph. Queens, let the hurt fuel your growth. Let the pain of being overlooked remind you of your own brilliance. And let the void he now feels be the proof that you were never ordinary. You were his guiding star, the light he'll never find again. Stop waiting. The time is now. The best revenge isn't in making him regret. It's in creating a life he can't help but regret not being part of. Your silence will echo louder than his words ever could. Write this affirmation in the comments and claim it as your own. I am the light he'll never replace. Say it out loud. Feel the power in those words. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with the queens in your life who need this message. Together, we're building a community that knows its worth, embraces its power, and thrives in its brilliance. Because your story isn't over, it's just beginning. Number 3. He'll hear the echo of your silence like thunder in an empty room. Silence is a powerful weapon, Queens. It's not just the absence of words, it's the echo that fills the void, reverberating with questions, regrets, and realizations. Imagine this. He's sitting in a quiet room, expecting the usual message from you, the lifeline of attention he's grown so comfortable with. But this time, nothing comes. The room stays empty, the silence grows louder, and in that void, he starts to hear the thunder of everything he took for granted. This is your moment to reclaim everything, to show him that your worth doesn't need to be announced. It declares itself in your absence. You see, men often thrive on predictability in relationships. When you text, call, or chase, you become a melody they assume will always play. But when that music stops, when the silence stretches, it creates a storm in their minds. They'll never admit it. But that silence becomes a mirror, reflecting all the ways they've failed to truly see you. Enough is enough. Take your power back. The moment you stop giving him the comfort of your presence is the moment he realizes just how much he needed it. Picture this. Your words were like a gentle rain, soothing and constant, nourishing his ego and easing his insecurities. But now the rain has stopped, and all he's left with is the dry, cracked earth of his own neglect. The quiet becomes unbearable, a thunderclap in an empty room. He'll replay your conversations, scrutinize every interaction, and wonder when things shifted. The irony? The shift wasn't sudden. It was a build-up of all the times he chose indifference over effort, games over honesty, and his ego over your heart. They underestimated you. Now prove them wrong. You only truly hear the silence when the noise is gone, they say, and your silence will be deafening. It's not about playing games or being petty. It's about stepping back to let him face the absence of you. Every time he reaches for his phone and doesn't see your name, it will strike him like a thunderbolt. He'll start to see that your presence wasn't just noise. It was music, harmony, life. And now, all he has is the echo of what he's lost. Think of yourself as a queen who's walked away from a court that didn't appreciate her. Your silence isn't surrender, it's strategy. You're not begging for his attention or proving your worth. You're standing tall, unshaken, and letting your absence speak for itself. The love you seek starts with you. Look in the mirror. That's your biggest ally. Your silence tells him what your words couldn't, that you're not someone who will beg for the bare minimum. You're not an option, you're a choice. And if he didn't choose you with his whole heart, then your silence is the consequence of his own indifference. Imagine him now, sitting alone, hearing the echoes of your laughter, your care, your unwavering support. Those echoes will become reminders of the space you once filled, the light you brought into his life. He may have taken that light for granted, but now he'll feel its absence like a thunderstorm raging in an empty room. Every clap of thunder will remind him of a text left unanswered, an effort he failed to make, a chance he let slip through his fingers. Your story isn't over, it's just beginning. This is your time to rise, to show him and yourself that you were never defined by his attention. Let's be real, queens. He might try to rationalize your silence at first. She's just being dramatic, he'll tell himself. But as the days turn into weeks, as the echo of your absence grows louder, he'll start to feel the weight of his choices. The human mind craves certainty, and your silence is the ultimate uncertainty. It's the question he can't answer, the puzzle he can't solve. And that's when regret will seep in, filling the empty spaces with the realization that he let go of someone unforgettable. Your silence will echo louder than his words ever did. It's not just about what he hears, it's about what he feels. And as that echo reverberates in his heart, you'll know that you've reclaimed your power. This isn't about revenge, it's about respect, self-love, and stepping into your true strength. You've cried enough, it's time to conquer. Let him sit with the echo of his own mistakes while you rise into the woman you were always meant to be. Queens, write this affirmation in the comments and make it your mantra. My silence is my power. Say it every time you're tempted to reach out, every time you doubt your worth. And as you embrace that silence, remember, they don't define you. You do. You're the thunder in the empty room, the echo he'll never escape, the queen who doesn't settle for less than she deserves. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're here to bring you the lessons, insights, and strength you need to rise. You're not just surviving, you're thriving. And this is just the beginning. Number 4, he'll carry the weight of regret like a stone in his chest. Imagine this: the man who once took your love for granted is now carrying the unbearable weight of regret, like a stone pressing on his chest with every breath he takes. The realization of what he lost didn't come with fanfare or grand gestures. No, it arrived in the silence you left behind, in the absence of your warmth and the strength you brought to his life. He thought he could replace you. That time would dull the loss. But here's the truth. When a queen walks away, her absence leaves a void no one else can fill. And you, my dear queen, have just shown him what true value looks like. You're not broken, you're rising. Every moment you spent wondering if you were enough, every tear you shed over his indifference was preparing you for this moment of clarity and power. The love you gave wasn't a weakness, it was a gift. But some men don't recognize a diamond until it's no longer in their grasp. That stone of regret he carries. It's the weight of his own choices, his failure to cherish the rare gem that you are. And now, while he's left grappling with the loss, you're free to reclaim your crown and step into the light you were always meant to shine in. Think of it this way: relationships are like gardens. You nurtured his world with your care, your time, your love. You were the sunlight, the rain, the soil in which his confidence and dreams grew. But instead of tending to you, he let the weeds of neglect creep in, suffocating the connection you built together. And now, as he stands in the ruins of that garden, holding the remnants of what you once gave him, he feels the weight of every opportunity he let slip away. That's the stone in his chest, a constant reminder that he had everything and let it wither. They underestimated you. Now prove them wrong. He thought your love would always be there, like a safety net waiting to catch him. But queens don't wait. You didn't need him to be whole. You were whole all along. The strongest fires create the brightest flames. And now is your moment to burn brighter than ever before. Every step you take forward is a step he'll feel, a reminder of the strength and beauty he lost. This isn't about revenge. It's about showing yourself and the world that your worth was never tied to his recognition of it. Imagine him now, sitting in the quiet moments of his day, scrolling through old photos, rereading texts he once brushed off, replaying memories of your laughter. Each memory is a pebble that adds to the stone in his chest, each realization another ounce of weight pressing down on him. Regret is cruel like that. It doesn't strike all at once. It creeps in, slowly but surely, until it's impossible to ignore. And for him, the heaviest burden isn't just losing you. It's knowing he'll never find someone like you again. Your heart knows its worth. Listen to it. This is your moment to reclaim everything. The power you gave away in love is now yours to keep. Feel the pain, but don't live there. Instead, let it fuel your growth, your determination to build a life so beautiful, so full, that it leaves no room for doubt. You're not a victim. You're the hero of this story. The love you seek starts with you, and the future you deserve is waiting for you to step into it. Stop waiting for permission to be amazing. You've had that power all along. Picture this: a man standing on a mountaintop, weighed down by the stone of regret, unable to move forward because he knows he's the one who pushed you away. While he struggles to climb, you're soaring past him, wings spread wide, no longer tethered to the past. He'll watch you rise, and with every step you take, the weight of what he lost will grow heavier. But that's not your burden to carry anymore. Your story isn't over, it's just beginning. Queens, look in the mirror. That's your biggest ally. The scars you carry are proof you survived, and your strength is the fire that will light your way forward. The love you gave wasn't wasted. It was a lesson, a gift that taught you the value of your own heart. Now, it's time to take your power back. Enough is enough. Let his regret be the reminder of the woman he didn't deserve, and let your strength be the story you write from here on out. Say this with me: I am irreplaceable, and his regret is not my burden to carry. Write it in the comments, queens, and let this be your declaration to the world. Like this video if you're ready to take your power back, and subscribe to the channel for more lessons that remind you of your worth and help you rise into the queen you were always meant to be. Your future is watching. What will it see? Let it see the fire, the strength, and the brilliance that no one can dim. You're not waiting anymore. You're rising. And this time, the world will know your name. Number 5. He'll watch you rise like a phoenix from the ashes. The ashes of heartbreak feel suffocating, don't they? The weight of their indifference, the sting of being taken for granted, the endless questions echoing in your mind. Why wasn't I enough? Why didn't they see my worth? But here's the truth, Queen. Their blindness to your value says more about them than it ever will about you. You weren't meant to crumble beneath the ruins of their carelessness. You were meant to rise, and rise you will, like a phoenix blazing through the dark, showing him exactly what he lost when he let you go. There's a power in you, lying dormant, waiting for this very moment to ignite. He thought he'd left you broken, but what he doesn't know is that the fire that tried to consume you has forged you into something unbreakable. The strongest fires create the brightest flames. And you are the flame he'll never forget. When he watches you rise, glowing with the light of your resilience, he'll feel the sharp sting of regret, like a wound he can't heal. Think of a phoenix, majestic and untouchable. It doesn't rise out of revenge. It rises because it must. Because it knows its story isn't over, and neither is yours. This is your moment to reclaim everything you thought you'd lost. You're not defined by his departure. He walked away, but you're still standing, and now you're soaring. Look in the mirror. That's your biggest ally. You're not broken. You're evolving, becoming the woman who turns every scar into a badge of strength, every tear into a stepping stone toward your greatness. Imagine him watching from afar, trying to piece together how you managed to flourish without him. He thought your light depended on him, but now he's standing in the shadows, squinting at the brilliance you've become. He underestimated you. Now prove him wrong. Not with words, not with anger, but with the quiet, undeniable power of your growth. Let him see the life you're building, one filled with love, passion, and a sense of purpose so vibrant it outshines any regrets he could ever throw your way. This isn't just about making him regret losing you. It's about becoming so extraordinary that regret is inevitable. Picture yourself as a garden. For so long, he trampled through it, plucking at the flowers without nurturing the soil. But now, you're blooming without him. Every petal, every leaf, every ounce of beauty you've cultivated is a testament to your strength. And as he watches you thrive, he'll feel the weight of every missed opportunity, every moment he failed to water the roots of the connection you once shared. Queen, it's time to stop waiting for someone else to validate your worth. The love you seek starts with you. When you nurture your dreams, when you embrace your passions, when you refuse to let anyone dim your light, you become magnetic. He'll see it. Oh, he'll see it. And he'll wonder how he ever let go of someone who could shine so fiercely. But by then, it won't matter. Because your rise isn't about him, it's about you. It's about becoming the woman who doesn't just survive heartbreak, but transforms it into a masterpiece of resilience and radiance. Feel the pain, but don't live there. Let it fuel your growth. Your story isn't over. It's just beginning. Every setback you've faced, every tear you've cried, every moment you doubted yourself has brought you to this point. The point where you decide, once and for all, that you're done settling for anything less than extraordinary. Pain is temporary, but regret, that lasts forever. And the beauty of your rise is that his regret will pale in comparison to the joy you'll find in rediscovering yourself. Take your power back. Turn your pain into your power. This is your rebirth, your chance to show the world and yourself just how incredible you are. You don't need anyone to complete you because you were never incomplete. The phoenix doesn't rise because it's been saved. It rises because it knows its worth. And so do you. Say this with me. I rise because I am worthy. Write it in the comments, let it echo in your mind, and let it guide your actions. This is your declaration, your mantra, your promise to yourself that no one's dismissal will ever dim your light again. If this resonated with you, Queen, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're here to remind you of your power and help you build a life so extraordinary that no one can ignore it. This is your time. Stop waiting for permission. Your rise starts now. Number 6. He'll search for you in others and only find shadows. He thought he could replace you, didn't he? He thought he could find your smile, your laughter, your presence in someone else. But here's the truth, Queen. You are not replaceable. You are not a copy, a template, or a fleeting presence. The moment he walked away, he set himself on a journey of endless searching, trying to fill the void you left behind. And no matter where he looks, all he'll ever find are shadows of what he lost. Why? Because no one can imitate a woman who has stepped fully into her power. You're not just someone he misses, you're the one he'll never forget. The problem is simple. He underestimated you. He thought you were just another chapter in his story, but now he's starting to realize you were the entire plot twist. The solution? Let him search. Let him try to recreate the love, the loyalty, the energy you gave so freely. Because the more he searches, the more he'll come to see that you were one of a kind, a queen ruling with grace, and now with boundaries. They say the heart always knows its true home, and his heart, it will keep circling back to you, even as his ego fights to deny it. Don't dim your light for those who are blind to your brilliance, a wise soul once said. You've spent so much time trying to show him your worth, trying to convince him of what should have been obvious. But here's the truth. Your worth isn't something anyone gets to debate. You were the lighthouse guiding his ship, the steady hand in the storm, the warmth that made his world feel less cold. And now, as he looks for you in the faces and voices of others, he'll find only faint echoes of what he once had. Queens don't need to beg to be seen. The right people will see them without question. Imagine him now, searching desperately for the kind of connection you offered without hesitation. He'll sit across from someone who doesn't understand his jokes the way you did, someone whose laugh doesn't sound like yours, someone who can't match the depth of your loyalty. He'll try to force it, try to mold them into the role you filled so effortlessly, but it will never work. You see, shadows can't replace the sun, and you, my dear, were his sun. You illuminated his life in ways he didn't even understand until your light was gone. Relationships are like dances. and you were the one who moved in perfect rhythm with him. But he took that rhythm for granted, didn't he? Now he's stumbling through life, out of sync, because no one else knows the steps the way you did. The irony is almost poetic. He left thinking he could find better, and now he's realizing that better doesn't exist. Your love wasn't just rare, it was transformative. It was the kind of love that built him up, made him feel seen, and gave him strength. And now, as he faces the void, he'll come to understand the depth of what he's lost. You've cried enough. It's time to conquer. Stop wondering if he'll ever see your worth, because deep down, he already knows. His regret is brewing with every moment he spends trying to find you in others. You don't need to wait for him to admit it. His actions will say it all. Let him see you rise. Let him watch as you take all the love you poured into him and redirect it to yourself. They don't define you. You do. And the moment you realize this is the moment you become untouchable. Picture him sitting in silence, replaying old conversations, scrolling through pictures, and wishing he could go back. He'll try to rationalize it at first, tell himself it was just a phase, that he made the right choice. But as the days turn into weeks, and the weeks into months, the truth will settle in. You were never just a chapter, you were the whole damn book. And now, that book is closed to him. Your scars are proof you survived, and your strength is proof you're thriving. Let him search. Let him try to piece together the fragments of what he shattered. You don't need to be a part of that chaos anymore. The strongest fires create the brightest flames, and now you're burning brighter than ever. He'll realize too late that the love he overlooked was the kind of love he'll never find again. Say this with me, Queens. I am irreplaceable. Write it in the comments below, because this is your moment to declare it. You are not his backup plan, his maybe, or his second chance. You are the standard, the prize, the one who got away. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with every queen who needs this reminder. We're here to help you reclaim your power, one life-changing lesson at a time. Because your story, it's only just beginning. Number 7, he'll realize you were the queen of his kingdom all along. He thought he was the king, didn't he? Confident in his throne, comfortable in his dominion, never realizing the true power wasn't in his crown, but in the queen who stood beside him. You. But here's the twist he never saw coming. When the queen leaves, the kingdom crumbles. And now, as he surveys the ruins of what once was, he'll finally see the truth he was too blind to grasp. You weren't just part of his life. You were the architect of its strength, the heart of its soul. The moment you take back your power, he'll realize what he lost, and it will be too late. Queens, this is your moment to rise, reclaim your throne, and let him feel the weight of your absence. They say, a king is nothing without his queen. But too often the queen's role is underestimated. He didn't see how your love stabilized his chaos, how your loyalty kept his kingdom steady, or how your grace turned his storms into calm waters. You were the lighthouse guiding his ship, the steady hand that kept him grounded, the quiet force behind every success he claimed as his own. But now he's lost the one who truly mattered, and the realization will hit him like a tidal wave. Picture this, a once great castle standing tall and proud. Without its foundation, the stones begin to crack, the walls crumble, and the banners fall. You were his foundation, the silent support that held everything together. And now that you've stepped away, he's left with nothing but an empty throne and echoes of what used to be. It's not your absence that weakens his kingdom. It's the absence of your love, your presence, your magic. and as the dust settles, he'll see it clearly. You were the queen, not an accessory to his reign, but the reason it thrived. You're not broken, you're rising. This is your moment to reclaim everything he took for granted. It's not about vengeance or making him suffer. It's about standing tall and embracing the strength you always had. Stop waiting for permission to be amazing, because the love you seek starts with you. When you step into your power, when you remember that your worth isn't defined by his inability to see it, you become untouchable. And in that moment, he'll feel the regret deep in his bones. Think of a garden. You nurtured it with your patience, your care, and your unwavering belief in its potential. But he didn't water it, didn't tend to it, didn't see its beauty until the flowers began to wither. Now, as he looks at the barren soil, he'll realize it wasn't the garden that failed. It was him. But you've taken your seeds, your sunshine, and your magic elsewhere, and the garden you're building now will bloom brighter than ever. Your scars are proof you survived, and your heart knows its worth. Listen to it. You're not a victim. You're the hero of this story. They walked away, but you're still standing. Every setback you faced was a setup for this moment, a moment where you rise, not as someone waiting to be chosen, but as someone who knows they're the prize. When he finally sees you thriving, building a life that doesn't just exist but flourishes, the regret will consume him. But by then, it won't matter. You'll have moved beyond the walls of his broken kingdom, creating a realm where your happiness reigns supreme. Here's the hard truth he'll have to face. You don't need him to be whole. You never did. He might have thought he was the ruler of the story, but you were always the one holding the pen. And now you're writing a new chapter, one where you choose yourself, where you build without limits, where you turn every tear into strength. The strongest fires create the brightest flames, and the queen you're becoming is unstoppable. Feel the pain, but don't live there. Let the hurt fuel your growth. Every moment he underestimated you, every time he took you for granted, is a reminder of just how much you've overcome. Your silence will echo louder than any words, and the life you're building will be a testament to your resilience. He'll see it, he'll feel it, and he'll know, without a doubt, that he lost the crown jewel of his kingdom. Write this affirmation in the comments. I am the queen of my kingdom, and I will never be overlooked again. Let it remind you of your power, your worth, and your strength. Queens, this is your story, your rise, your reign. They underestimated you. Now prove them wrong, not for them, but for you. And while you're here, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're working hard to bring you lessons that will change your life, because you deserve nothing less than a kingdom worthy of your throne.